Oh, I don't feel right or feel wrong. I'm only what you make me, baby. Don't walk away, don't be so shady. Don't want your mind, don't want your money. These words I say, they may sound funny, but oh, sweet thing, oh, sweet thing, oh, you know everything. Yes, you know. Don't you hear me talking, baby? How it could be. Good people love. Let's go, yeah. That's my favorite tale. You wanted to the
Is this mine? Or is this- I'm a little thrown off here. All right. Good morning, everyone. I would like to call this meeting to order at time of 10:08. Before we get into the full agenda for the May 15th, 2025 Chicago Plan Commission, I would like to quickly provide guidance to those who want to provide testimony on the cases presented for public hearing today. A few of you have already submitted forms electronically, but for anyone else who may wish to testify before the Plan Commission, please fill out the sheets located on the table where you entered the room. Please include your full name, address, and if you are for or against the proposal, and if you are here representing yourself or an organization. Please hand your sheets to one of the staff members. People who have completed forms will be called on after each item is presented. Out of respect for other speakers, please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Please line up at the microphone behind me and to my left in the order I call your name, and please do not repeat comments that have been made by previous speakers. The public comment portion of the meeting is not a question and answer session of the staff or of the applicant, but an opportunity for attendees to voice their opinions on a particular proposal. Out of respect for others, please do not interrupt or disrupt the speakers. Any individual who disrupts the presentation or any subsequent comment session may be asked to leave the council chambers, or if necessary, may be escorted out by security. With that, we will now have roll call. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brumfield is present. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Carney. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner Dow. Commissioner LaSpada.
Here.
Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Pinheiro.
Here.
Commissioner Ramirez Rosa. Commissioner Reyes.
Here.
Commissioner Chicho Lopez. Commissioner Tillman. We now approve the minutes from the April 17th, 2025 regularly scheduled Plan Commission meeting. The minutes were distributed prior to today's hearing. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes from the regularly scheduled meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission held on April 17th, 2025? So moved by Commissioner Boatright, seconded by Commissioner Tillman. Roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brumfield is a yes. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Carney. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner Dow. Commissioner LaSpada.
Yes.
Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Pinheiro. Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Minutes have been approved. Motion passes. Oh, Tillman, did I miss you? I'm sorry. Commissioner Tillman, my apologies. Public testimony. Reminder, we will take public comments for the items on the agenda after each item has been presented. If you have not already done so, you wish to speak on an item, please complete the testimony slip available at the table just outside of the room. Staff members are available to assist if needed, and will collect the forms from you. We do have one item for which the applicant has requested a deferral. The item seeking this deferral is listed as D2 on the agenda. A proposed zoning map amendment within the boundaries of the North Branch Industrial Corridor submitted by the Throop Studio LLC for the property generally located at 1500 North Throop Street. The applicant is proposing to rezone the site from M2-3 Light Industrial District to C3-3 Commercial, Manufacturing, and Employment District to allow for the operation of a private event space with a public place of amusement license PPA, in addition to the existing photography studio with 2 existing parking spaces in the transit served location. This is item 22593-T1, located in 27th Ward. Do we have a motion to defer this item to a date certain of the June 26, 2025 Plan Commission date? So moved by Commissioner Dow, seconded by Commissioner Boatright. Is there any discussion by the commissioners on this motion? If not, we will do a roll call vote. Oh. Roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brumfield is yes. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner Dow. Commissioner LaSpada. Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Pinheiro.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Chicho Lopez would like to acknowledge. Okay. And also, well, we'll go back up. Commissioner Tillman. And Commissioner Carney, I understand, is in attendance? Yes. Okay. Got it. And Commissioner Ramirez Rosa?
Present.
Thank you. Okay. With that, we'd like to move on to our next item. We will move on to the public hearing presentation portion of matters for matters submitted in accordance with the Lake Michigan and Chicago Lakefront Protection Ordinance and the Chicago zoning ordinance. The first item today is listed as D-1, Proposed Residential Business Plan Development submitted by 1333 Kingsbury LLC for the property generally located at 1333 North Kingsbury Street. The applicant proposes to construct a new 23-story residential tower and a parking podium with 272 dwelling units on subarea C, with an existing 4-story building in subarea B and surface parking lot with 44 spaces in subarea A to remain, and 238 accessory parking spaces in subarea B and C for the overall FAR will be 5.0. This is item 22634 and it's located in 27th Ward. James Gwinner will provide a context overview and present the proposed plan. James.
Good morning. For the record, my name is James Gwinner with the Department of Planning and Development. The applicant, 1333 Kingsbury LLC, has submitted an application for a proposed plan development at the property generally located at 1333 North Kingsbury Street. On a net site area of 73,869 square feet and with 3 subareas, the applicant proposes to construct a new 23-story, 243-foot residential tower and parking podium with 272 dwelling units and 238 accessory parking spaces in subarea C, with an existing 4-story building in subarea B and surface parking in subarea A to remain. The maximum base FAR is 5.0 with an underlying zoning of B2-5. The subject site is located in the near north side community area in the central region in Alderman Walter Burnett's 27th Ward. The area contains over 101,000 residents and over 63,000 households, median household income of approximately $121,000. The area's population is 67% white, 7% Hispanic Latino, 6.5% Black, and 14% Asian. Existing land uses in the neighborhood include business, commercial, residential, and educational institutional uses. This slide shows the existing site conditions with 4-story commercial building that will remain in subarea B and the surface parking lots in subarea A and C. The site is a transit-served location within close proximity to several public transit stops and is approximately 1,825 feet from the CTA Red Line stop at North and Clybourne and 400 feet and 850 feet from CTA bus stops on Halstead and Division Streets, respectively. The subject property is adjacent to several other approved residential business PDs to its north and east and borders areas on the west and south that are zoned for commercial and manufacturing uses. Here's a rendered aerial view from the north showing the height of the new residential building relative to existing and approved buildings to its north. And here's an aerial view of the current view looking toward the east, showing the height of the existing 4-story commercial building and the proposed new residential building. Here's a rendered aerial view looking north up Halsted Street, showing the height of the proposed building in relation to the existing Sono buildings just north of the site and the approved 450-foot building at North and Clybourne. A view looking southeast on North Kingsbury Street, showing the existing 4-story building fronting West Evergreen Street. This slide shows the frontage of the residential building on North Kingsbury Street looking southeast. And here's a view of the arcaded entry on North Kingsbury Street. Another view of the entry on North Kingsbury with a mural featured. The proposal is subject to the guidelines of the Halsted Triangle Plan, and the applicant has provided a checklist noting 8 points of compliance with the plan's objectives. Now I will turn the presentation over to Katie Janke-Dale of DLA Piper, the applicant's attorney, who will further explain the details of the proposal.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Katie Janke-Dale from the law firm of DLA Piper. Along with my colleague Rich Clowder, we represent the applicant who's represented here today by Mike Drew. I also have Keith May from the project architecture team, as well as Steve Corcoran, the traffic consultant, here today. As we always do in this area of the 27th Ward, this project underwent an extensive community engagement process spearheaded by the Near North Unity Program, where we presented the project back in February and received a letter of support. With that, we also made some changes to the project, which Keith will cover when he makes his design presentation. And with that, I will turn the presentation over to Keith.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Keith Lee with Fitzgerald Associates Architect for the project. I'm here today on behalf of the applicant to present our proposal for 1333 North Kingsbury Street. This PD application consists of 3 sub-areas along Kingsbury Street between Evergreen Avenue and Scott Street. Sub-area A is an existing surface parking with 44 parking spaces. Sub-area B has a 4-story existing office building that is surface parking lot span across sub-area B and sub-area C. Sub-area C is where we propose a 23-story residential building containing 272 residential units. There will be no change to the existing office building, and the existing parking lot at sub-area A will remain unchanged. Move to the site plan. Between the existing office building and the new residential building, we will be enhancing the parking lot with new landscape islands and new trees, all to better serve the office tenants and also to improve the streetscape. On the ground floor of the new building at sub-area C, we are proposing a 1,600 square feet perfectly accessible space along Kingsbury. It will be well lit, nicely designed with landscape, sculpture, and bench seating to create a welcoming area for the residents and also for the public. Next to it is the residential lobby, which will feature the full-height storefront system that can overlook to the street and also to engage and activate the street. We are eliminating an existing curb cut at sub-area C. We will introduce a designated residential loading spot for vehicles like Amazon delivery truck and rideshare to pick up or drop off. All the intent is to reduce double parking and improve traffic flow. We're proposing one-to-one bike parking for the residents here, as well as we will be installing new public bike rack along Kingsbury next to the residential building and next to the office building. Moving up will be a couple parking level for the office use with its own office elevator access. Between the office parking and the residential parking, there will be a security gate separating them. Next 3 levels will be parking for the residential. Taking advantage of the TOD site, we are proposing a 0.5 parking space per unit, totaling 136 parking for residential. 20% of all parking will be EV ready for future charger installation. Levels 7 to levels 22 will be residential floor. Each will contain 17 units with a mixture of studio, 1 bed, and 2 beds. Above on the top floor will be amenity plan, which has an indoor amenity space and an outdoor amenity deck with outdoor amenity, swimming pool. Above that will be the mechanical roof with elevator overrun and stair access. Moving to the elevations, the building is wrapped around with what I call an organic grid, which will manifest itself in different proportion and densities according to the building's massing and orientation. The short end of the residential building will come down, interlocking with the podium levels, anchoring the Kingsbury facade and mark the entry to the residential lobby and the public space. To further enhance the public realm, we are introducing art mural at 3 strategic locations. First will be at the surface wall facing the parking lot between the office building and the residential building. Second will act as a feature wall facing the public space along Kingsbury. And the third one will be on the blank wall facing the surface parking lot at sub-area A. Next is the building section that shows different uses we're proposing at the site. One is the existing office building and also the residential building. Taking a closer look at the facade, we are looking at the residential floors will be of window wall system comprised of metal panel, fission glass with low reflectivity, and also spandrel glass. We are expressing the vertical piers with profiled extrusion, which is inspired by the steel members that found in the bridge nearby. Some of the horizontal bands will also be profiled to create hierarchy, visual depth, and shadow lines to the facade. For the podium facade, we are using a combination of perforated metal screen, spandrel glass, and 42 inches high lead wall to shield any traffic light or from public. This slide recaps some of the pedestrian safety and traffic feature the project will offer, which includes having most of the vehicular access from the alley side, with eliminating a curb cut and provide one-to-one bike parking. The applicant also performed a traffic impact study and also furnished a traffic management plan. Here, these 2 slides highlight some of the findings and some of the recommendations through these studies. This slide recaps some of the major open space and landscaping provisioned by the project. All will meet the objective and criteria as listed in the landscape and open space section in the zoning ordinance. From the urban design standpoint, the new residential building will break up the large existing surface lot and also reinforce the street walls facing Kingsbury. The residential building is set back to create transition from the lower building to the residential building. The design language is timeless and also make reference to some of the local languages we found around the area. For the sustainable development policy, we intend to meet 100 points under 2024 Chicago Sustainable Development Policy. We're looking at third-party certification and also other certification to meet the criteria. Also, we're looking at bird-friendly design. We look at the guidelines as listed in the Chicago Sustainable Development Policy. We will implement exterior material with low material flat factors in the podium facade. which is up to 70 feet above grade, which will help a lot. And also all the fishing glass, we will specify with low reflectivity so that to avoid bird collision. For the railing on the 7th floor terrace, we're proposing metal picket railing instead of glass railings. And all the exterior light will meet the dark sky ordinance. At the amenity level, we'll have wind barriers. Those will be of bird-friendly filter glass. Those are the 2x2 or 2x4 dots that will help to alleviate bird collision as well. And lastly, for the swimming pool, we're located at least 20 feet away from any fishing glass. The project is intended to meet the storm water management ordinance. Detention will be provided either under the surface parking lot or under the parking ramp. And I'll pass the baton to Michael, Katie.
Thank you again. For the record, Katie Jenke Dale. The applicant will be complying with the ARO by providing all 20% of the units on site. That would be 55 units, of which 18 of those units will be, or all of them will be at a weighted average of 60% AMI. But of those units, 18 will be at or below 50% AMI, and 3 of those units will be at or below 40% AMI. The project represents an $89 million investment by the applicant and will create significant jobs that, and the applicant will be working with Alderman Burnett's office to achieve it, to work towards the 26 and 6 M&WB goals. We also worked closely with CDOT on proposed traffic improvements in the area, and we've, as recently as this morning, agreed to make a $45,000 contribution towards a new traffic signal at Halsted and Scott. That I'll turn it back over to DPD, but we're available for any questions. Thank you.
Once again, for the record, my name is James Gwinner with the DPD. The Department of Planning and Development has reviewed the materials submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposal would be appropriate for the following reasons. The proposed development is in compliance with the PD standards and guidelines. It complies with the Halsted Triangle Plan Update of 2020, promotes economically beneficial development patterns that are compatible with the character of the existing neighborhood. It is designed to reinforce urban features in the surrounding area. The proposal ensures a level of amenities appropriate to the nature and scale of the project, and it promotes safe and efficient circulation of pedestrians, cyclists, and vehicles, and promotes transit, pedestrian, and bicycle use. Please refer to my staff report for further details on this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, the zoning administrator recommends that the application for the establishment of the plan development and zoning map amendment be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning, Landmarks, and Building Standards as such. Thank you.
Thank you. The following speakers have signed in to speak on this item. If you could please line up in this order. First is Andrew Burnham, who is against the proposal. Second is Steve Corcor, who is for the proposal. Next is Butler Adams, who is also for the proposal. And also last is George Blakemore, speaking on this item. He did not list whether he's for or against the proposal. Yeah.
Good morning. My name is Andy Burnham. I represent the Bird Friendly Chicago Alliance, a coalition with more than 20,000 members and supporters. In my professional career, I'm an environmental scientist focused on reducing air pollution and greenhouse gases that impact both human health and the health of our planet. However, after living in Chicago for 25 years, I only recently came to appreciate the amazing wildlife this city has to offer. During the pandemic, I fell in love with Monty and Rose, the plovers at Montrose Beach, and what our citizens were doing to protect them. I started doing nature walks through the Park District and grew a greater appreciation for this amazing city. However, after the death of 1,000 birds in one night at McCormick Place, I learned the danger our city poses. I'm here to oppose the plan for 1333 North Kingsbury Street. I'm asking 1333 Kingsbury LLC, along with Fitzgerald's Architects, to comply with the city's enhanced bird protection strategy and the sustainable development policy. And I ask the commission to ensure that this is done. We appreciate that there are some bird-friendly features in this plan, but without compliance with at least the basic bird protections and ideally enhanced bird protections, a lot of birds will die when this huge glass box is built on the river. Any new construction should require bird-friendly design that is measurable and verifiable. But considering the location of this project is a major migratory pathway, these stronger protections are absolutely necessary. Chicago is the deadliest city in the nation for birds. Right now, our bird collision monitors are picking up dead birds day in and day out as they try to migrate to their breeding grounds north of the city. The good news is that there's a solution and we're willing to help. This building can be made much safer for birds, and now is the time to make it happen. It's much more economical to construct these buildings correctly from the start rather than having to do costly retrofits in the future. Please make changes to the plan so that this project is fully bird-friendly compliant along this critical migratory pathway. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Adams.
There was somebody else before me, so I'll go. My name is Butler Adams. I am in favor of this proposal. I'm very familiar with this area and has spoken pretty much in favor of all the high rises that are already been constructed around here. One of my only concerns about this particular project, and I'm also familiar with Fitzgerald, they've done some very nice buildings, including 727 Madison, I think, which is their nicest design. I think they could do a little bit better in terms of the facade treatment for the base of the building, in terms of the parking. With 727 Madison, they were able to kind of enclose that parking space with the glass and make it a little bit more elegant with that building. I'm not really seeing that with this particular project. My only other concern for the area in general is that there's a lot of traffic there up and down Halsted Street and Division. Now, I'd hope the city and planning would also look at how that intersection comes together at Halsted and Division, where Kingsbury used to come through, because you have this project, there's a lot of other vacant land along the river. And with the CHA plan, they're gonna add about 4,000 units along Division as well. So that's gonna create a lot more traffic in that particular area. So I do hope that the city is looking at how to possibly relieve that in the future. Otherwise, I don't have really any major concerns about this project. I am glad that you all I'm not a swimmer, but you all put the pool on the roof, so it's gonna get an abundant amount of light in this area. And I do hope that you all maybe think about enclosing that, because again, I'm not a swimmer, but for those who are swimmers, if the pool is enclosed on the rooftop, it could be used year round. That's about all I'll have to offer. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Adams. Is Steve Corcor, if I'm pronouncing his name
Oh.
correctly, is he still?
Vice
in
Chairman,
favor?
Steve is up here.
Oh. Very good. Mr. Blakemore.
I object of this project. See, some people come up, they never object. They do little tour guides, and this is the way they get paid. Now, what is your purpose for objection of this project? They said something about MBEs, minorities. I've watched the developer, inclusion, equity, inclusion, diversity is not working. Black men are not working on these projects. Other people will be working. Other people will be working. So it's very important. That's why I should put on my Trump hat. Well, why are you talking about politics? That's what it is. They're all Democrats. And black people are not getting nothing. 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 And matter of fact, they're being gentrified out of the city. Well, why don't fake news bring this up? I talked to Kingsbury. Diversity. Black men are not going to be working on this project. How do you know, Mr. Blakemore? By the past. You can predict the future. Well, you have a black alderman. You have black commissioners selling their people out. Selling their people out. Now, Mr. Blakemore, what motivates you to continuously come to these meetings and say the same thing over and over? Ask yourself why you continue to come, black leaders, and doing the same thing over and over. There's not going to be no equity here for black people. There's not going to be no diversity and inclusion for black people. You know, the shower's a blessing. When these showers come down to black people, it's piss. They're called golden shower. You don't benefit from that. That young man looked at me and smiled. He looked at me and smiled. I told him that when it came to that casino. It sounds good on paper, but it doesn't work out like that. We get golden shower. And what they're doing down here, these Democrats are 69. Like, oh, you said that word. There's no diversity here. There's no equity here. There's no inclusion here for black people. And whatever they're telling you is not true.
Thank you, Mr. Blakemore. Alderman Burnett?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman, and thank everybody on the committee. Sometimes I want to say, Walter Burnett, what'd you think about this? I think that this project, I'm just kidding, I think this is a great project. They did meet with the local community organization, which is NNUP. The community had no complaints. We appreciate the fact that this contractor or this developer always partners with minority developers. Matter of fact, he actually have mentored minority developers to be minority contractors, but also mentor some contractors to become developers. So we appreciate what he does. I have confidence that he's going to hire people from the community and encourage his contractors to joint venture with minority contractors and help people in the neighborhood. Appreciate the fact that he's going to do the affordable housing on site. I think this is another addition to the affordable housing that's getting built around the city. So I just want to commend the development. As for the committee's support on it, I think it's a good development. My community supported also. Thank you very much. And Mr. Burnett is getting ready to finish. Mr. Burnett, are you ready to finish? Yeah, I'm ready to finish. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burnett. Do the commissioners have any questions of the staff or the applicant? Commissioner LaSpada.
Thank you so much. I'll echo the points. I really appreciate the affordability on site. I feel like I appreciate the detailing of how we're doing income grading and like the unit sizes. It's great to not be asking about that after the fact. Could we, point of information, is there a way to at some point enable the expanding function on these iPads? I would find that very useful for future meetings. Barring that, can we go to the MBE WBE Chicago resident requirement slide for a second? Because the language was a little less than clear, and I appreciate Alderman Burnett's trust. But when it says applicant to make best efforts, and I assume means at city's MBE WBE participation goals of X, Y, and Z, does that mean that you're committing to the goals as laid out in the executive order from 2017? Because make best efforts and commit to goals sound close to the same thing, but I just want to confirm if they're the same thing.
Yes, sorry if that's unclear. We're complying with the mayoral executive order. including
Okay,
the
I
reporting.
figured, I just wanted to clarify. Lawyers use very precise language. Can we go back to the bird-friendly design slide? Our commenters who talk about this are consistently on point. I mean, I think it was either Cranes or Block Club Chicago that just had an article about we're about to enter migratory season for hundreds of millions of birds. Is that what I read? Yeah, I see heads nodding in the back. What does it mean to use the bird-friendly design strategies listed in the City of Chicago SDP handbook as guidelines? Because we know that there's 5 points available for basic bird-friendly design, 10 points available for enhanced bird-friendly design. If we're not applying even the 5 points, it's genuinely confusing to me what it means to use these strategies as guidelines and how that is an enforceable component in the development when you go for permits. Can you explain more about that?
Again, for the record, Katie Jinky Dale. So all of the items that Keith outlined during the presentation are reflected in the elevations that will be exhibits to the PD. And then when we come into for permits, we'll have to comply with those elevations.
I appreciate that. I mean, if that is in line with, if what we saw is what is enforceable, do you all want to go for the 5 points on the sustainable development policy?
So I think that, what we've outlined is in the presentation is what we're currently projecting for compliance with the policy. This is above and beyond, quite frankly, because we're getting the 100 points and committing to these bird-friendly strategies. If, it turns out, we'll of course be working with Brad in the Sustainable Development Bureau as we kind of move towards permits. But I think actually getting a better deal here because you're getting 100 points through other strategies and then this on top of that.
I appreciate that. I may let others pick up the thread. I had one other question related to the sustainable development policy. I had not seen folks apply for the 30 points under Fitwel certification, and I should know what that is, but could somebody elaborate on what Fitwel certification is? Yes, in the back.
Thank you. Good question, Commissioner. Brad Roback with the Department of Planning and Development. The Fitwel certification is a third-party certification similar to LEED and others that do this sort of thing, but it's focused on health-related and other related things that, improve sort of circulation throughout the building and include things that are related to health and wellness of residents or occupants of the building. It's a separate third-party certification system, though. And as part of the policy, we award 30 points for projects that achieve certification through that process.
Yes, I kind of imagined that point. Could you elaborate on when you're saying that they certify against metrics and aspects of the building related to the health and wellness? Like what kind of metrics are we talking about?
There's strategies that relate to like indoor air quality. Sometimes there's strategies that, have more active ways of moving about through the building, like stairways and things like that. There are some energy related strategies in that certification. I don't know them all off the top of my head, but I can forward some information about the program.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Brad.
It's also in the handbook as well, but I'll make sure to get you a link to their criteria.
Thank you, sir. No other questions, Chair.
Thank you. Any other comments from the commissioners? Please, Commissioner Pinheiro.
Help me understand, I'm looking at the, I need to, I want to understand the, on the timeline page, seems like, we're getting towards the tail end of the process here, CPC hearing today. And then other than the building permits process, what else, what other open items, what else is in the way really to get the project going? And how confident are you on the schedule that you've outlined here?
Alderman, that's the $100 million question in this current financial environment. I'm sorry, for the record, my name is Michael Drew. I am a principal at 1333 LLC. The current economic climate is very difficult for development. So with certainty, I can't say that there's a certain date. We would have to raise financing, we'd have to raise equity, we'd have to bring in a partner to enable us to develop this and move forward. The timeline gives us room within that as to when we believe that we'll be able to break ground, but it's all contingent on the current markets.
Thank you, Mr. Drew. A couple of questions related to it. So is the obstacle, when you talk about the market environment, is the obstacle related to the level of rates and making the numbers work in relation to rates, or capacity for funding?
It's exactly both. There is a reluctance in the institutional markets to fund a project at this point. And it's related large part to the returns necessary for at the cost of funds today. When we started a project that we're finishing 2 blocks north, our cost of funds were about 4%. Today, they're 9%. As an example of how difficult it is to make numbers pencil.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes, I mean, I understand all the financial difficulties, so I truly hope that interest rates improve so you can actually get to build this beautiful building because it's very important, and I have to say it again over and over, how much we appreciate the fact that you are providing all the affordable units in the building. That is truly outstanding. So I really hope that the economy gets you to the point where you can finish, securing all your financial funding, and this building becomes a reality, because it will be beautiful for those families, for everybody, but in particular for those families to be in such a beautiful building and feel part of a larger community. So that welcomes everybody. Thank you.
Commissioner Lyons.
Thank you. Just to follow up on the question from Commissioner Laspada about the bird-friendly design. I guess it brought up a larger question maybe for the department about, I know, we have specific protections for the lakefront, but what do we do in terms of building on the riverfront? Do we have similar protections, and do those include protections for birds?
Noah Safranek, Planning and Development. So the bird-friendly design standards are laid out in the Sustainable Handbook on how to achieve them. You saw the slide here where they pick certain strategies. The river has some additional standards, and many of the projects that you see come here for new plan developments go through our River Ecology and Governance Task Force, which has various bird advocacy and other river advocacy groups on them that talk through best management practices and how to achieve the best design that's a balance between usability for us and for ecology.
Thank you.
Any other comments from the commissioners? Oh, Commissioner Laspada.
Just because he brought it up as a follow-up question, Noah, did this project go through that ecological task force that you were discussing?
No, because this doesn't front the river.
Doesn't front, what do we, wait a second.
Could you take us back to the context slide, please?
Based off of it not being directly adjacent on the river?
The River Ecology Task Force is for projects that abut the river. So if
Correctly.
they abut the river and have a Riverwalk component, they typically go through our River Ecology Governance Task Force, which is specific for those projects. The
Okay.
sustainable development requirements and the bird-friendly policy is the same for all projects. But if you touch the river, you have the additional layer of review through third-party entities that make it their job to advocate for those types of standards and best management practices. So they still have a bird-friendly component to their sustainable obligation, and they've picked from things that are strategies in our sustainable policy guide to achieve it.
No,
Don't
understood.
have the piece that Commissioner Lyons was asking about, which is the river piece.
I was just seeking clarity on what abutting versus adjacent, based off of my understanding of the venue. That was the clarity that I was seeking,
Abutting
which you have
adjacent-
provided.
Abutting and adjacent are two defined rules in the zoning ordinance. Adjacent means nearby, abutting means touching.
I know. Hey, you learn something new every day. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are there any other comments from the commissioners? No. With that, do I have a motion on the proposed residential business plan development submitted by 1333 Kingsbury LLC for the property generally located at 1333 North Kingsbury Street, finding that it meets the requirements for approval. So moved by Commissioner Boatright, seconded by Commissioner Pinheiro. There's no additional discussion. I'd like to do a roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brumfield is yes. Commissioner Burnett has recused himself. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner Dowell. Commissioner LaSpada. Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Pinheiro.
Yes.
Commissioner Reyes.
Yes.
Commissioner Tillman. Oh, Chair. Oh, Commissioner Murphy, this is the second time, sorry. Carney, sorry, second time I skipped you. And, Ramirez, Commissioner Ramirez Rosa?
Yes.
And who else? Oh, Commissioner Brooks. I'm sorry, Commissioner Brooks. Yes, I skipped 3 people. Motion passes. Congratulations. The next item today is listed as D3, reminder that D2 was deferred earlier in the meeting. A proposed amendment to Waterway Residential Plan Development 1127 submitted by ZSD Oakdale LLC for the property generally located at 2235, 2249 West Oakdale Avenue. The applicant proposes to rezone the Waterway Residential Plan Development number 1127 to the RM5 Residential Multi-Unit District, and then to the Waterway Residential Plan Development number 1127 as amended to construct 35 new townhomes, each with a 2-car garage. The proposed maximum FAR is 1.5. This is item 22633, located in the 32nd Ward. Yang Di Wang will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
Thank you, Vice Chair. Good morning. For the record, my name is Yang Di Wang, an urban designer with the Department of Planning and Development. This proposed development is generally located at 2235 to 2249 West Oakdale Avenue and is located within the North Center community area within the 32nd Ward. The applicant, CSD Oakdale LLC, and their development team appear here today to propose an amendment to planned development 1127 for the subject site. The applicant proposes to rezone the Waterway Residential Planned Development 1127 to the RM-5 Residential Multi-Unit District and then to Waterway Residential Planned Development 1127 as amended to construct 35 new townhomes. The brick-clad townhouses will be 3 stories tall with private garages. Each unit will be provided with a private yard at grade, a large balcony at level 2, and a private roof terrace. The site will also include an extension of the publicly accessible riverwalk that connects with the existing pathway at the Lathrop Homes site to the east and allows for future extension to the west. The proposed development is located in the North Center community area, which has an estimated population of 35,814 and a median age of 34.8. The site is approximately 80,468 square feet and is bounded by West Oakdale Avenue to the north and North Branch Chicago River to the south. Planned development 1127 was originally approved in 2008 for the construction of 33 townhouses and 4 single-family homes. It was administratively modified twice in 2016 and 2017, but no construction has taken place. The property remains vacant and unimproved. The site was zoned RM 4.5 residential multi-unit district prior to the establishment of planned development 1127. Surrounding land uses include a mix of residential, industrial, and commercial uses. Adjacent zoning districts include RS3, residential single-unit district, M1-2 limited manufacturing business park district, M2-3 light industry district, and planned development 1315. I'll now turn the presentation over to the applicant team to present the details of their proposed amendment.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Rolando Acosta. I am the attorney for the applicant on this matter. With me here today is Seb Zolomon. He is a principal with the applicant, and Martin Snow, who is the architect for the project. I'm going to try to walk you through this project, and then Zev, Martin, and I will be available for any questions the commissioners may have. You're looking at an aerial view of the proposed development. It's 35 townhomes. The river here is, as you can see, to the lower right-hand corner of the screen. Lathrop Homes redevelopment is immediately to our east on the southern portion, and then a parking lot slightly to the north, and then single-family homes. Proposal is for 35 three-story townhomes, generally about 3,300 square feet in size, most of them being three-bedroom units. There are 6 four-bedroom units in the project. This is a view from the reverse angle, looking south towards the river. The townhomes are arranged in, there's a center portion that is arranged in north-south fashion with a center court, and I'll talk more about that as we get to access for the river. And then there are some that are arranged in east-west, including the 6 that align the north bank of the river. This is a view of the inner court between the north-south main rows of the townhomes. This is a view from Oakdale, the street that borders this project on the north, looking down again through that center court. Access to this, as you'll see in a moment, is provided to the east and west of these center rows of townhomes. River design context, we're meeting the guidelines. I will note, based on the previous questions, we also met with the River Ecology Task Force and received their input. We are adopting bird-friendly design and seeking the points under the matrix. In addition, we also are preserving the line of trees that are along the bank of the river. The Ecology Task Force, that was important to them because that preserves a buffer from our windows to the migrating birds who predominantly would use the river, which is obviously to our south. We're also going to increase public access, you'll see that in a moment, to the river, to that river walk that Yangi mentioned, that then would connect to the Lathrop Homes River Walk and can be connected to any river walk that is created on any project to our west. In terms of a community timeline, we had discussions, maybe we'll get this right. There we go. We obviously had discussions with Alderman Wagasback and his staff who reviewed this project. They directed us to 2 community groups in the nearby area, Hamlin Park Neighbors and Roscoe Village Neighbors. Both community groups reviewed the project and issued letters of support for this project. While we had extensive reviews with the Department of Planning, CDOT, the fire department to make sure that our access routes meet with fire safety requirements. Received feedback on all of this, made adjustments accordingly, leading us here today. From here, moving forward, we obviously would need to go through City Council and then get building permits. In terms of financing, just anticipating another prior question, we've started pre-sales for this project. This is a for-sale townhome project. So we have started pre-sales. We have some pre-sales. We have a lender lined up. Assuming everything holds, we would then have financing for this project and it can proceed forward. Looking at the site plan now. So starting on Oakdale, you can see the north-south rows of townhomes, and you see the center court that I previously mentioned. That center court is going to be publicly accessible during Park District hours to allow the public to walk down it and get access to the Riverwalk. So that is a major benefit from, I think, the Department of Planning's perspective, as well as the River Ecology Task Force, because it does provide a clear public access to the Riverwalk. You also see a U-shaped access way that borders the north-south rows on the east and the west, and then wraps around the southern portion of those townhomes. That was reviewed by CDOT and also by the fire department to make sure we had appropriate turning radius to fit all of the largest trucks that the fire department would use in the event of an emergency. Wayfinding was requested by the fire department to make sure the fire personnel can find each of the individual townhomes, and that will be part of the project. Wayfinding was also required or requested by DPD and the Ecology Task Force so that individuals who are walking down Oakdale realize that there is a path to the river that is publicly accessible. From a landscaping plan, obviously meeting the parkway landscaping as required by DPD and the zoning ordinance. And then in terms of the river, we are providing the 30-foot setback. We are preserving what trees are good trees and in good shape. We're adding trees. You can see those as the circles that are not filled in on the landscape map. And then we have the 16-foot wide river walk that extends across the river frontage of this project. It does contain a portion that extends beyond the property line. There's a provision in the plan development requiring us to secure an agreement with CDOT and the city for maintenance and repair of that river walk since it does sit on property controlled by the city. You can see the 3 homes on this site plan that are immediately to our east on Oakdale. In terms of the typical unit, it's a 3-story unit with a rooftop deck and a small penthouse that extends to give access to that deck. There's a 2-car garage on the ground floor, and then a flex room, could be an office, could be a den, could be a family room. Then the second floor, second level, is the general living space. There's a terrace, an outdoor terrace that sits over the garage floor or the first floor that provides some outdoor space for each of the units. There's also the required yard space in front of the units at grade. Third floor provides the bedrooms. Generally 3-bedroom units shown here. 2 baths on the, I believe it's 2 baths on the third floor. And then you can see the upper floor that is the penthouse and the rooftop deck. Just simply a roof plan showing those penthouses sitting on the roof. They're well set back from the facade, so the appearance from grade near the project is of a 3-story building. You won't really see these townhouses, or at least they will not be prominent in the view. In terms of facades, this gives you a view of the different townhome arrangements here, with the river elevation being at the bottom, the courtyard elevation being at the top, and then the rear or center elevations being in the middle, along with the Oakdale elevations. Specifics of the facade. These are predominantly brick masonry buildings with some highlights that are fiber cement, notably the rooftop penthouse will be, and then accents below each of the set of the windows. Large windows are included throughout to provide lots of light and air into each of the individual units, and each of the units has punched windows. In the center image, you can see the articulation of the second floor that steps in to provide that outdoor deck over the garage. It also does tend to break up the facade of this building. Just a simple section through the building so you can see the arrangement and you can see that step in the second floor. Transportation, traffic, parking. 2 parking spaces per unit in a garage. The 6-foot sidewalk along Oakdale being improved with the required landscaping. The connection that I previously mentioned under number 1 there that takes you from Oakdale to the river frontage. Under number 2, the river walk along the river connecting to Lathrop Homes to the east and can be extended. And this allows for, obviously, bicycle access, pedestrian access. and widening of so the existing public alley to the east gets widened by 4 feet. That was per the fire department's request, so that they could have a 20-foot area for their trucks. The drive aisle to the west is on private property is also 20 feet. From an urban design, it cleans up the Oakdale frontage of this property, which has been dormant in various stages of attempted development since 2008, so 17 years. It provides an active ground floor with residential uses throughout. And then you have buildings that are generally of the same scale as the residential buildings that are to the east and north of this property. Open space and landscaping, obviously the river extension, the river walk, the heavily landscaped courtyard between the rows of townhomes, the ones that extend north-south, preservation and restoration of existing trees that are worthy of such. New plantings, prioritizing native plantings, another thing that was important, the DPD and the River Ecology Task Force, that particularly along the river, to the extent we use plantings, we use native plantings. And bird-friendly lighting and building design. Building materials, as I previously mentioned, are high quality. They are brick with the metal panel accents to it, the large windows, and then that setback articulation of the facade at the second floor to break up the mass of the building, but also provide some outdoor space on a deck for each of the units. Sustainability policy, starting with the 20 points for bird-friendly design, meeting the energy code or exceeding the energy code, native landscapes, stormwater retention, exceeding the ordinance, bicycle parking, waste diversion, and indoor water use reduction. These are at this point, these may change as we go through the building department and the review, but we will always meet those 100 points, and we will make note to retain the bird-friendly design portion of this. Stormwater management. This site requires on-site retention. That has been planned. It's been reviewed by Department of Stormwater Management and our concept approved. Obviously, it needs to be further engineered, but there will be retention below grade for the stormwater that controls the rate and volume of stormwater coming from this site and entering the city sewers. ARO. So we have selected under the ARO ordinance and rules to locate the ARO units off-site. We have identified 2 locations that are approximately 3 blocks from this site, where the applicant proposes to build 2 3-flats, each of them containing 4 bedrooms. So, and as a result, under the ARO ordinance, we can reduce the required 7 AROs to 6. That is beneficial in that those would be for sale. Having 4-bedroom units is kind of rare from an ARO perspective. So that's a major benefit, and it puts them in a building that, can sustain itself. We have been working with the Department of Housing, and will continue to work with the Department of Housing on the details of those 3 units. And we also obviously have also worked with the local aldermen, as both sites would need to be rezoned. We have filed for the rezoning of those 2 sites, and the applicant does currently control those sites and have the financing to build those sites, as they will have to be built contemporaneously with these townhomes so that they're available for market at the same time that the townhomes are available for market, or before. Economic and community benefits. Obviously, long vacant site gets redeveloped. That's a major improvement. The extensions for the public accessing the Riverwalk is a main community benefit here. We will attempt to meet, we intend to meet. We've been working towards meeting the 26 and 6. GC has not been selected yet, but the developer's an experienced developer, has worked through these a lot before. He's very aware of those comments. All the GCs will be made aware of those comments. We will be reaching out to all the community builder associations to make sure they're aware of it. We also have the benefit that this is a smaller project in terms of its dollar volume, so that will make it more feasible for some minority and woman builders to be able to bid on this because the bonding requirement will not be as high as it may be in a high rise. Total project cost here is 33 million, and the estimated construction jobs are 200. And I believe I now turn it back to Yang Di, except to the extent there are questions.
For the record again, my name is Yang Di Wang with the Department of Planning and Development. DPD has reviewed the proposal submitted by the applicant and has concluded that the proposed amendment to planned development 1127 would be appropriate for the following reasons. The proposed amendment complies with the planned development standards and guidelines. The proposed amendment has been designed to be compliant with the Chicago River Design Guidelines adopted by the Chicago Plan Commission. The proposed amendment is compatible with the character of the surrounding area in terms of uses, density, and building scale. Public infrastructure facilities and city services will be adequate to serve the proposed development at the time of occupancy. Please refer to my staff report for further details regarding this project and the plans identified here today. Based on the foregoing, it's the recommendation of the zoning administrator of DPD that this proposed amendment to planned development 1127 be approved and forwarded to the City Council Committee on Zoning Landmarks and Building Standards as such. DPD staff and representatives from the applicant team are here to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you. For the record, I'd like to formally acknowledge that Commissioners Carney, Commissioner Brooks, and Commissioner Ramiro Rosas is in attendance here today. We do have 7 people signed up to speak on this item. I'd like to call the first 3 of the 7 to please stand in this order for speaking engagement. First is George Blakemore, who has not indicated whether he's for or against the proposal. Second is Michael Cantonese, who appears to be for the proposal with some changes. And also Karen Harlander, who is for the proposal. If you could please line up in that order. I do not see Mr. Blakemore, so Karen or Michael, please take the mic.
The first one's missing.
Yes, no, please.
Hello, I'm Michael Catanese. I am a resident of the 32nd Ward and also one of the owners of Century Plating, which is located directly north of the development. Century Plating has been in business for over 70 years. We're a 3rd-generation company. We provide plating services for high-volume automotive manufacturers. These projects include over 10 million seatbelts that are produced annually that go in every Toyota and Lexus that is assembled in the United States, 50 million wheel nuts that go in every Nissan and Honda assembled in the United States. We have programs with Harley-Davidson, Klein Tools, and various other high-volume manufacturers. As this pertains to the development, we are located directly north. And in the current condition, the parkway is paved. The paved parkway has been used for my company for over 70 years. Like I said, we're a 3rd-generation family-owned company. And we have used that paved parkway to allow our customer-provided trucks to turn into our shipping docks. With the current proposal, that area becomes recurbed and grassed with 3 trees. With that modification, the customer's trucks will not fit in our shipping docks, ultimately resulting in us losing customers and closing. This is not a matter to be taken lightly. We will be losing business if this occurs, and we will lose over 50 union workers in this process. We agree that development must occur in Chicago, in the 32nd Ward, the community. We've been a strong proponent of being part of the neighborhood, being a participant in the community within the surrounding neighbors. And so we don't discourage the development, but we need a modification to the development to allow that paved parkway to continue. We've notified the alderman's office, multiple people at the Chicago Department of Transportation, but without your support, without Chicago's support, we will close. And at this point, our company doesn't know what direction to go in next. So please understand the severity of this. We want to see the development occur, but with that modification to the parkway located on the northwest corner of the development. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Karen Harlander, and I'm here representing Bird Friendly Chicago, which has more than 20,000 supporters. I want to thank the commissioners for continuing to take feedback from Bird Friendly Chicago and to consider measures to reduce bird window collisions. I want to begin with why bird conservation matters. Birds are integral to the environment. Birds have essential functions like promoting plant growth by dispersing seeds, pollinating plants, and controlling insect populations. Most birds killed by windows are migratory birds that travel thousands of miles. Birds see untreated glass as air, not as solid. I volunteer in the Bird Lab at the Field Museum, where 6,000 to 8,000 dead birds are received annually. Most of these birds come from the Chicago Bird Collision Monitors and other sources. These deceased birds are documented and added to the collection for future research. They are evidence of the carnage caused by collisions with glass. Birds typically die of head trauma. I consistently see birds with fractured skulls, signs of brain bleed, and other skeletal injuries. These were otherwise healthy birds, fully ready for the arduous and extraordinary journey of migration, but were lost due to dying in window collisions. I want to thank Oakdale ZSD LLC and SGW Architecture and Design for choosing basic bird protections in the sustainability checklist for this townhome project on Oakdale Avenue. Given the project's location along the river, it's crucial that bird-friendly design is used. This will allow birds to migrate along this major pathway without crashing to their deaths when they collide with untreated glass. Besides fritted glass, we recommend full cutoff lighting that casts light downward for bird safety, given the density of birds that travel at night. We're glad to see that wood post railings were chosen instead of glass ones, which are always very dangerous for birds, even when treated. One species of concern here is the black-crowned night heron, a state endangered bird that roosts at Lincoln Park Zoo and travels along the river corridor. So the choice here is not benefiting people or birds. With bird-friendly measures, we can benefit people and birds. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you. I'd like to call the next four people to speak. First is Kirby Callan, who is against the proposal. Second is Jonathan Snyder, who is for the proposal. Third is Butler Adams, who is for the proposal. And last is John McDermott, who is against the proposal. If you could please line up in that order. Thank you.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Kirby, and I'm a volunteer with the People's 32nd. We're a community organization based in the 32nd Ward. I'm here today to speak in opposition of this proposal. Over the past few weeks, I've knocked on close to 100 doors of the homes immediately surrounding the development. And I've spoken to longtime renters and homeowners. Not once have I heard anyone say, what this area needs is more luxury housing. What I have heard is, man, what's going on with that thing across the board? Because there's been no community meeting to discuss this development. In the presentation, it was brought up, there was discussions with Hamlin Park neighbors and Roscoe Village neighbors and Alderman Wagasback. I used to live across Damon from Hamlin Park, and important thing to note, Commissioners, is Hamlin Park Neighbors is a dormant organization. They don't meet. It has a dead website and a Facebook that hasn't been updated in nearly 3 years. So they don't really represent the community, and Roscoe Village Neighbors doesn't represent this development either. This isn't in Roscoe Village. There's been no direct outreach to the people that will be the most affected by this development. A development that has a two-car garage each and will drive up costs. The people I speak to are longtime renters, longtime homeowners that are concerned and wish they would know more. They want to hear from the developer. They want to hear from the alderman's office and know what's going to affect their community and even provide input. There's concerns about affordable housing, right? With the proposal here, it's 7 units that drops down to 6. And what's being proposed, these 3 flats, is not equivalent to the development that's happening along the river, right? These are a difference of luxury townhomes and a 3-flat development. And so I'm here, commissioners, to urge you to ask these developers what community outreach is planned. How are we going to bring the community to the table? Because clearly that's not happening. I've spoken to dozens of community members, and only 2 had heard anything about this development. One was a neighbor who works in real estate, and the other was a person that reached out to the sales office for this development. And so there's a lot of confusion that people really just want input. So I urge you to ask how we're bringing community to the table and to really consider how this will impact the area. The belief across the board is that we won't have a voice. This is just going to get rushed through and voted on, and it's a done deal. And so I urge you to approach this with a mind that considers the community that was not involved at any step of this process. Thank you, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Snyder. I'm Executive Director of North Branch Works. Thank you, Vice Chair Brumfield and Commissioners, for the opportunity to speak. North Branch Works is an economic and community development organization representing the North Branch community for more than 40 years. We support businesses that create family-sustaining wages, especially manufacturing and industrial businesses. This project is across the street from Century Plating, whom you heard from earlier, and they've been located there since 1953. It is also proximate to Vosges Haute Chocolat, which also employs more than 50 people. We have concerns about locating residential so close to manufacturing. But as stated in our letter, we do not oppose this project. The developer has worked with Century Plating to address their issues. CDOT has reached out, or they have engaged the property owners to make sure that their concerns are addressed. And so long as those commitments are adhered to and followed, and that these businesses are able to thrive, we will support this project. We implore the city to continue working to make sure that this happens. One more thing, we are a local industrial retention initiative, or a LERI organization. We're one of 10 throughout the city. We take note that these rezonings have happened a lot in our area and throughout the city. And these uses are not always compatible. Mindful of these challenges, we worked with our other LERI partners to draft a citywide industrial policy to address these issues and make sure that they don't keep happening over and over. We shared this with DPD and with the administration, and we urge the city to adopt this industrial policy so that it can guide development without having these types of interactions. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Yes, again, for the record, my name is Butler Adams. I am in favor of this proposal. It is just north of Lathrop Homes, and I got a chance to speak in favor of that redevelopment, I guess about a decade ago now. I don't really have a big issue with this project, other than one of the earlier speakers said it's not really consistent with a lot of the other projects that have happened along the river, and a lot of those have been much more denser than this project. But again, this is in this particular ward, and this ward is kind of anti-density a little bit. In terms of the architecture and design, as somebody who has worked on the Chicago River for like over 25 years giving tours, one of the only things that kind of irks me a little bit is that I wish you all, the architects and developers, would kind of change a little bit the color of the brick. Not everything should be the same thing. The company I work for, we turn around right there at Kinsey Park Townhomes, right between Kinsey and Grand. They've been there about 25 years, but they're all the same. Copy, cut, paste, copy, cut, paste, copy, cut, paste, kind of the same thing here. It would be nice if you could maybe use, I don't mind if you have the same design, but change the color of the brick here and there so that if you have somebody who's drunk, they'll know which house they're going to. Everything is the same. And also, the only thing else I wrote down is under economic and community benefits, I wish that we could start including how much property tax these projects are going to generate. Right now, it's kind of an empty lot. How much generation is this property going to, create with the development of this project? That's about it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Good morning, Vice Chair Brumfeld and Commissioners. I'm John McDermott. I am a consultant to Palenque LSNA, formerly known as the Logan Square Neighborhood Association. That organization has worked closely with Lathrop Homes residents for the last 40 years, and I staff the Preserve Lathrop campaign, which is made up of current residents, former residents, neighbors, civic leaders, and we are opposed to this proposal for 3 reasons. The first is the threat that this poses to the industrial companies on the block, particularly Century Plating and Vosges Chocolate. That stretch of Oakdale is shared by low-density residential and industrial companies, and we're particularly concerned about the 2 row houses that are immediately south of Oakdale. Mr. Catanese from Century Plating mentioned that that area is exactly where trucks maneuver in order to back into the loading dock for Century Plating, and that the trucks need the parkway in order to do that, to be clear of trees and grass. But also we are very worried that long-term there's going to be a conflict if there are row houses immediately south of that, and that there's an opportunity here to build in a buffer. Secondly, we're concerned that the affordable units are off-site and are not equivalent in type to the market rate units. They're not row houses, and they're off-site. And thirdly, we are concerned that you commissioners are being asked today to amend a planned development that is 16 and a half years old. It was passed in late 2008, and it would have sunset in 2014, but the city granted an extension that year and then granted administrative relief the following year in 2015, and in 2016 granted a 1-year extension. And so I urge you commissioners to ask the zoning administrator and DPD staff, how is it that this PD has held on for 16 and a half years instead of sunsetting? And is this normal practice in Chicago? Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions of the staff or the applicant? Commissioner Burnett?
Yes, Zeb, first of all, I want to say that this developer, I've worked with in the past, he's built several things in our ward. Matter of fact, he has built houses in my ward when and put in affordable housing when we didn't have an affordable housing policy, right? Matter of fact, he built over in Cabrini Green, and he built the development, and he put 10% CHA and 10% affordable in there when he didn't have to, and I appreciate him working with me on that. This is before we had a policy, if I'm not mistaken. And then he built some things over in the West Loop area, and we encouraged him, or we worked with him to build some off-site affordable housing, more than the required number on the west side. He did that in several areas. So I would say, I'm saying all of that to say that this this gentleman has been good on building affordable housing when the alderman requested, regardless of the ARO zoning. So which gives me assurance that he's going to build his offsite affordable housing where it is. I just want to ask where it is, and I just want to know why you're not doing the offsite in my ward. And so where's the offsite?
Rolando Acosta again, for the applicant. 3116 North Clybourne is one site, so it's about 3 blocks north on Clybourne. And the other one is, I can't remember the precise address, but it's on Oakley, just north of Oakdale's intersection. And the reason that those were selected is, one, they're in the 32nd ward, and sometimes the aldermen prefer that we stay within their wards for our
I get
offsite.
it.
But also, these are in Lakeview. And this
I had
is,
to try though.
I know, I appreciate it. These are in Lakeview. So getting offsite affordable housing for sale in Lakeview is an even more rare event in the city, given the pricing in Lakeview. So these are close by. And the alderman specifically said, I'll let you move them offsite, but I want them as close as possible. And so we complied.
So and I appreciate some of the comments earlier in reference to, so with the offsite, do you have to do, so you don't have to do like housing?
You do
offsite?
not. You have, the ARO, the rules and the ordinance provide parameters that you have to meet. They provide for, if you have 3-bedroom units and provide 4, you get to reduce the number. There's a ratio in the rules for that. They also give minimum square footages that have to be complied with to assure that the units are of adequate size, but they don't have to be townhomes specifically. They can be, those are attached units. These are attached also. So 3 flats are attached units. Townhomes are attached units. They're just attached
So the three-
differently.
So they're gonna be condo.
They'll be condos. They're for
For
sale.
sale.
Yes.
Okay.
And one note, so the original plan development in 2008 would have required 10% affordable housing. This amendment occurring today with the modern rules actually doubles the requirement. So it does yield much greater affordable housing, albeit because of the passage of time and amendment of rules.
So this plan development has been in since 2008.
2008. So that would have been 1 year after the first ARO.
So it was a plan development for townhomes or a single family home.
It was originally for townhomes with some single families. It then got amended to all single families, then got amended again, I believe, to more townhomes, and now we're amending it for townhomes. This plan resembles the original plan. Not identical, but it resembles the original plan.
Okay, fantastic.
Other commissioners for additional comment, I'd like to acknowledge that Mr. Blakemore has returned to Chamber Council, or to Chambers.
I was over at Cook County Board. They didn't want to hear me, and I rushed over here. Off-site. What do you know about off-site, Mr. Blakemore? With Sterling Bay and with this building up right behind Trump Tower, Tribune. Off-site? And this, I asked this gentleman, he said it's not illegal. It is. It's discriminatory. Why not on site? He said technically it's not illegal. It is. That's what they was trying to do. They say, we don't want low income in Lincoln Yard, this new development. We can put those units off site. Who does this? And why would you do that? They're saying, we don't want to live with these people. We don't want to live with poor people. Put them somewhere else, off site. Off site. They should clone Mr. Blakemore. They should clone him. I came right here and I was listening and I asked this gentleman, he said, it's legal. I said, no, it's not. Why can't they? Why didn't you do that? Because the rich people, they don't want to live with the poor people, but they want to get government money. So put them off site. And the taxation is not going to be the same with those off site. So it's fraud. It's bad government. And he, don't let them bully you. Alderman is going along with this. It is illegal. Why can't you build it? If not, don't build it at all. Equity, inclusion, diversity for Black people, no. And it's not even beginning to be this for poor white people. They begin to rebel against this. Non-functional government, all Democrats, all the same party. That's no good to have all mamas in the house, all daddies in the house, all grandmothers and grandfather, auntie and auntie. It's not, you need a check and balance here. This is evil here. This is fraud here. This is un-American here. So let this.
Thank you so much, Chair. I want to say from the outset, I have no qualms with the market rate development that we're talking about. I think the incorporation of bird-friendly design here is fantastic. I really appreciate the naturalization of the river edges. As a frequent visitor to the Peggy Nopart Nature Museum, I get lectured by a 2-year-old on this all the time. That's fantastic to see. I have a lot of concerns related to the affordable units, and I'm going to talk about that. Number one, I want to make sure that I understand this accurately. The 6 affordable units will be grouped in 2 3-flats. Is that accurate?
Rolando Acosta again. Yes, that is correct.
Okay. The lots where these would be built, are they currently improved or are they vacant lots?
So they are both improved with older, I believe, frame structures.
What kind of frame housing? Multi-family? I'm
Uh,
going to go on for a little bit. I just wanted
No,
to,
that's okay.
Yep.
I think both of them are single families.
okay, what is the underlying zoning and what is the zoning that we need to do this? Because this is significant FAR on the kind of streets that we're talking about.
So, well, the proposed zoning for the sites, I believe is RM 4.5. The current zoning on the sites is, it's either C11 or C12.
So
C12.
what happens if you get opposite, because like on Oakley, RM 4.5 is significant. What happens if you get pushback or has the alderman already committed to that zoning?
So we've already filed, we've already notified the neighbors. We have gotten a couple of phone calls from the immediate neighbors on Oakley, all supportive of what we're doing.
Okay.
Because it kind of fills in with the block.
So each one of the townhome developments get a 2-car garage.
Mhm.
How much parking is going to be attached to each of the 3 flats?
One. Well, it's detached, but one space.
Okay. Do we know what the floor plans look like?
We have draft floor plans that are being reviewed by DOH currently.
How do you fit 4 bedrooms into 1,500 square feet? Is a practical question that I'm currently,
Well,
Listen.
so our design does it, and it gives the rooms, so the rules for ARO have a minimum size parameter for 4-bedroom units, which is actually 1,250 square feet. So
that is too small for a 4-bedroom.
I am just reporting on the rules,
I know.
and didn't adopt the rules. We're at 1,500, so we've expanded on that footprint. They also have minimum bedroom sizes, and we clearly we perhaps exceed those bedroom sizes. So we're not providing, I'll call them large closets as bedrooms, we're providing adequately sized bedrooms, and they all fit in this design. And in our view, subject to DOH review, meet the rules that have been established.
Can I ask?
Commissioner, real quick, Noah from DPD. I just want to like sort of level set here and others free to keep the line of questioning going and others can chime in. But I just want to, we are not reviewing anything at all to do with those 2 buildings or those 2 sites as a purview of the planned development here. They are setting their obligation to provide the 6 units at 2 offsite locations that very well could change over time. They don't necessarily have to end up in those 2 buildings. They could change. The obligation for the 6 units will remain with the PD. The covenants are required before any of the PD units come online. They'll all have to be done prior to any of these units becoming available. So that all of that's subject to change. So that's why I just want to make sure we like level the questions here. None of that review of anything to do with that is happening as part of this PD. We are working with DOH. They are working with DOH, and they have had those discussions and those reviews continue.
I understand that.
Perfect.
In any other case where where the units were being provided on site, we would be discussing that. I have concerns that are on the boundary of frustrations related to the information I currently understand related to the off-site affordable units.
Absolutely, Commissioner. I just want to add that in those cases, we would have exhibits that lay out those units, and that's why we would be discussing those things at this time of Plan Commission. For those offsite units, we're not looking at any of the construction documents at all at this time. And as you mentioned, they have to go through a rezoning as part of that too. If for some reason they were unable to get that rezoning, they would have to select alternative locations or more locations that could then total the number of units that they're required to put in place.
It's the lack of certainty on that I find frustrating. I'm trying to keep my tone tempered, and I'm on a verge. When it comes to sustainable development policy, we're providing that in spades for the market rate. Is there an extent to which we are applying that to the affordable offsite units?
I don't know precisely, but we could certainly look at that and see if we could provide, sustainable, environmentally friendly development for the ARO. I mean, so the city adopted an ordinance and adopted rules. And I understand your concerns, but some of your concerns may be directed at the rules and the policies. All we can do is follow the law. You're an alderman, you can change the law. So if the law is inadequate, it perhaps should be changed. But by law right now, we could buy out 50% of these affordables and provide 4. So we could provide 3 bedrooms. We're trying to provide 4 bedrooms. We're trying to provide them in Lakeview, which is a harder thing to do given the market in Lakeview. So the lots here are much more expensive than they would be other parts of the city where we'd qualify. And we're trying to do them close. We've talked to the neighbors in terms of our filings, so everyone's aware of what we're doing. And we've talked to the alderman, and we have his support for the rezonings. Not speaking for him, but at least he's indicated his support. The only reason we have held off, we filed, but we're not taking it to committee right now because we want DOH to complete its task of reviewing and giving us comments. And if something has to change because of their comments, then we will have to modify accordingly.
I understand all that. I understand the letter of the law. I understand what I would perceive of as a commissioner of the spirit of I know that the law does not demand equality of standards. I find a lack of equality of standards frustrating. That is all I will say. That's the close of my comments. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Boatright, followed by Commissioner Dowell, and then Commissioner Burnett.
Yeah, I just want to acknowledge, I actually appreciate your line of questioning. I don't think it's inappropriate at all. While we're reviewing this particular project today, I don't think it's odd to ask about the offsite units. I think it may be appropriate for the DOH commissioner just to reiterate the delivery in which those offsite units have to come online. You mentioned it earlier in your presentation, but I think for the sake of this particular PD and the sequence on which the project has to be completed would be helpful just to reiterate to the full commission. So
Also, again, appreciate Alderman Laspada's comments. Yes, so the Department of Housing is currently reviewing the designs that have been submitted. There are both rules for ARO, and as part of that, they actually also have to comply with the Architectural and Technical Standards Manual that the Department of Housing puts out. That is part of the work that is ongoing. They will not be permitted to move forward with the larger, with the main development without moving forward also with the ARO component. That is something that the applicant is aware of. and that is something that the team and I are working on. So as of right now, yes, they have availed themselves of one of the options available through the ARO, and we are continuing to work with them to ensure that they meet that to the extent that they are required.
Thank you. Commissioner Dowell?
Yes, thank you, Vice Chairman. I want to uplift what Butler Adams said about the bricks. And if it's not the bricks, perhaps you will make sure that each door is unique, but something that gives a sense of uniqueness to each individual home. So I wanted to just uplift that. Can someone give me more specificity on the solutions under consideration for Century Plating and the chocolate company? How their concerns are going to be addressed? That would be an important consideration for me in terms of how I would vote on this matter, because we would want to save the jobs and make sure that those companies remain viable in the city. Thank you.
So, Rolando Acosta again on behalf of the applicant. I can answer both. So starting with Vosges, I am not aware of any specific concern with Vosges. Sorry.
Commissioner Boatright?
Yeah, if I could have Commissioner Carney address the engagement to date with the business owners, the conversation when we have an adjacent use near residential, the sensitivity that we have to ensure that there's no interruptions in their operations. I think it's best for Commissioner Carney to discuss where we are on that.
Yes, thank you for that. Hi, Alderwoman Dahl. Co-development has occurred in other parts of the city. It does present some situations that we have to navigate through. Our team is connected with the business that you referenced, and we want to ensure that there's functionality of the street that works for all on the block. If we're not achieving that, we're certainly, it's going to be CDOT's problem to figure out down the road. But we certainly want to have that functionality exist to support business, but also to support development. So we are going into our toolbox of some options in order to make this work for all. We might have to make some adjustments on curb usage to allow for truck movements, but we are connecting. We're going to work with everyone to make this work.
Would it not be better to have that worked out so that it moves at the same time as the approval for this project? And how long is it going to take to work that out?
Well, we're going to move quickly on it. I mean, there's just been some exchange of information going on. I mean, things such as like changing curb usage, to create no parking space can be done quickly, as you know, through commissioner authority and then followed up by ordinances at council. So we will work quickly to get this resolved.
If I may, can I also try to? So I just want to make sure that everyone understands the situation. So the concern from Century, as we understand it, and we've talked to Century Plating, we've talked to North Branch Works. Century Plating is currently using the remnant of a driveway that's wholly within the public realm. So there used to be a driveway onto the property way back when, pre-2008. That driveway is no longer functional. That driveway no longer has a permit. No one reestablished the curb. So the apron is still there. But their use of the frontage of this property is wholly within the city property. It does not, they do not come onto the private property to turn their trucks. There's actually a fence along the front property line at the property line. So the solutions here are all within the city's domain. And I believe CDOT has done some turning radiuses to show that without parking on the south side, the southern curve of Oakdale, trucks can get in to the loading docks. But again, this is all within the purview of the city. It does not affect our site plan. We have no objection if there's no parking on Oakdale. It's not our street. We don't control it. That's up to the city. If someone needs us to modify the landscaping that goes in the parkway, happy to do it. Again, we're just following what the rules and people requested us to do, but happy to modify it accordingly. And we do have some landscaping. There's a 5-foot setback of the townhomes from the north property line that is going to be landscaped that provides a visual buffer to a comment that was made earlier. But it's not that they're entering into the private property, it's that they're using this driveway apron, which conveniently or inconveniently, depending on, I guess, our perspective, has been there, remained for the last 17 years.
Those are my questions. Thank you. Spoken like a lawyer.
Commissioner Burnett.
So I just wanted to ask, what are these townhomes going for?
The sale prices, I think north of $800,000.
Okay, so which is great. So so again, I had similar thing in my ward, and I worked with this developer. He actually gave me some extra houses, right? He built some, and it was actually cheaper for him to help to build the affordable than it was to bring down his cost on $1 million condo, right? So it worked out, and the community benefited from it. I would say this, one, I do want to commend the alderman. I know, commend the alderman on getting larger square foot condos for the affordable part, 1,500 square feet instead of 1,250. I think that's a great thing. Also, I know I've worked with me and this alderman, me and Wagaspack have shared North Branch together. So both of us have always been very sensitive of the industrial people and the businesses and the industrial businesses in our ward because they play a big part in our community. And so I know that he wouldn't allow you to do anything without communicating with those folks. So I just wanted to say those things. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Reyes.
Yeah, I just need some very simple clarification. The ARO document indicates that you need to provide 7 units, but you're providing 6. So we're missing a unit or I am misunderstanding this?
Oh.
The ARO allows for the incentive to drop by 1 unit because they are providing 4-bedroom units, which is larger, which are the larger family size units. So there's a trade-off that the ARO ordinance allows.
Okay, thank you. I understand now. I just will add that I'm concerned about a lot of things that have said here, but for me, what strikes the most is the fact that the units are not being offered where this development is being built. There's a big difference between a condo unit and a townhome. And also they mentioned the probably not sufficient community input. So it is very troubling for me in terms of this project. I clearly see that there is different kind of citizens and I'm not comfortable with that, so.
Commissioner Boatright.
Yeah, can the development team speak a little bit to the engagement that has occurred, the ongoing engagement that you all may have planned? It's been brought up both during the public comment period and also, our Commissioner Reyes also mentioned it. And so I think it's worth just elaborating a little bit around you all's level of engagement today.
Sure. So we were directed by Alderman Wagasback, who's very engaged with this community, to reach out to Hamlin Park neighbors and Roscoe Village Association. We did that. We explained to them the project. They reviewed the project. They gave us some initial commentary. We addressed their commentary and they gave us support. So that's from a community association perspective. This is kind of a unique little pocket of the city. And so we obviously sent out notices when we filed. We obviously sent out notices before this meeting. We obviously posted the required notices on the frontage. We received want to say 4, but maybe 5 calls from immediate neighbors on Oakdale, all supportive of this project, because obviously they're living in residential buildings and looking at a vacant mud pit basically for the last 17 years that has been planned for residential. So they were all very supportive that we were moving forward. And, you know, there wasn't, we always leave it up to the alderman to tell us if do we need to do more. He deemed that, and he's here, he can speak for himself. That was sufficient, and that brings us here.
Thank you. Alderman Waltersback, I believe you have a statement. Would like to speak on
Yes,
this
sir.
matter?
Thank you, Commissioners. And thank you, Rolando and your team for explaining some of this. I think we had some hiccups when we were moving forward on this. And as you recall, this wasn't the first ward until more recently. The amended plan here did call for a couple more townhomes than what was originally planned back in 2008 or 7 and 8. Some of the issues that we've run into, specifically with Century Plating, I think have existed for a long time. And I appreciate the work of both Century Plating, Vosges, and North Branch Works to try to figure out how we can continue to do these two industries in what is essentially a residential area. It's not an easy place to go into and try to figure out. If you looked at some of the street access there as well, we have some one-way streets that make it very difficult for, I think, the businesses to utilize some of the city infrastructure. So we are very cognizant of the need to make sure that Century can get their trucks in there. You know, we will do whatever we can, and we've committed to making sure that this one space where I think over the last decade and a half, there's been open use because there wasn't very specific pushback to say, like, look, this is going to be developed sometime in the future. It was sort of go ahead and continue to do what you need to do to get those trucks in there. I think, as Commissioner Carney said, there's a couple of quick things and easy things that we can do here in terms of the signage. We've already committed to clearing the space on the street there to allow those trucks to continue to do that. And then I understand that there's, you know, potential changes within the building itself, or at least on the loading dock. And we can look into something with the Addison South also to perhaps assist Century Plating with some SPIF funds or something that might provide them a little bit of incentive to make a couple changes on the dock. And that's something new that we could take a look at as well, and work with North Branch Works, who has very good experience working on those issues. In terms of the offsite ARO, I know it's 6. We wanted the larger bedroom unit buildings to be built. They committed to do this within a few blocks. We said that based on projects in the past, like Lathrop Homes, where they were saying you could build within a couple miles or more, they never brought that up. They said they would commit to these within a few blocks, as opposed to, you know, going much, much further away, where people nearby wouldn't experience those, the same neighborhood that the IRRs would go up in. So that was something that we felt, as we approached the neighbors and the neighborhood groups, was essential to make sure that they had those larger units there for families. So I think based on this amended version of it, we feel it's important to do something on this side after more than a decade and a half, almost 2 decades of having fallow land there that we constantly have to maintain. And yes, we've gone through different development teams, but this is the first team that has come forward, done exactly what was asked of them, and moving forward as quickly as they can as well. So I would ask for the commission's favorable support of this item if possible. Thank you, Chairman.
Thank you. Commissioner Boatright.
Great. I just wanted to ask one more question. Your timing, it looks like, can you go back to the timeline for groundbreaking? So it looks like timing for your groundbreaking is Q3 of 2025. I'm assuming all financing is secure and ready to move forward?
Yep.
Fantastic. Okay, that was my question. Thank you.
Do we have any other questions from the commissioners? Oh, Commissioner Lyons.
So, wanted to see if we could hear a little bit about the history of the plan development itself. In 2008, what was the zoning prior to the 2008 plan development?
I would have to get that back to you, Commissioner Lyons, but it started as an M zone property when it was first put in place. And so this has been undergoing various changes through the minor change process. So this amendment would reset it anyways. It would take whatever the PD had, make it this RM 4.5, and then go back into the PD as amended. So they're seeking a new underlying zoning designation here. But when originally incorporated, it was M zone property before it became the residential development.
Understood. So originally, we're talking about a manufacturing district, and it looks like it still abuts M1, 2 zoning. Is that
Correct. And there's an adjacent PD immediately east of them that did the same thing.
Okay. And to clarify, since the PD was approved in 2008, no construction has happened on that
That's
parcel?
correct. 3 or 4 different versions, no construction.
And to the question, I think someone, I'm not sure who raised it, but can someone speak to how PDs do sunset or do not sunset? And in this case, why didn't it sunset?
Sure, the ordinance lays out a 6-year time period for plan developments, upon which expiration the applicants, if they ask for it prior to the expiration, can get a 1-year extension. However, for PDs to actually sunset, there has to be a legislative action that occurs. No legislative action has occurred over the time to do such thing. So it really is no harm here in this scenario because it would have sunset back to whatever the R it went to before PD anyways. They're changing that to a different R today as part of this amendment process and then back to a PD again. So they're going through the exact same process that would have happened were it sunset or not today.
So if it had sunset, it would not go back to the manufacturing, it would go back to the R.
Correct. So plan developments are typically 2-step processes where they take the base zoning, go to one unified planning designation or zoning designation, and then to a PD. When you sunset back to the unified designation, not necessarily to the zoning of origin.
Okay, thank you for the clarification.
Thank you. For the record, I'd like to acknowledge that Commissioner Villegas has joined us in attendance. Do the commissioners have any additional questions or comments? If not, do I have a motion on a proposed amendment to Waterway Residential Plan Development number 1127 submitted by ZSD Oakdale LLC for the property generally located at 2235, 2249 West Oakdale Avenue, finding that it meets the requirements for approval? Do I have a motion? So moved by Commissioner Boatright, seconded by Commissioner Burnett. With that, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Brumfield is yes. Commissioner Boatright, or Burnett. Commissioner Carney. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner Dow. Yes. Commissioner Laspada. Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Ramirez Rosa. Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Tillman. Commissioner Villegas. Motion passes. Thank you. Oh, and for the record, Commissioner Dow does vote yes. Next item today is listed as D4, proposed resolution seeking to adopt the Armitage Industrial Corridor Framework Plan. The Armitage Industrial Corridor is on Chicago's northwest side, generally bounded by Grand Avenue to the north, Oak Park Avenue to the west, Portland Street and Bloomingdale Avenues to the south, and Cicero Avenue to the east, including planned manufacturing district PMD 15. Created in collaboration with more than 200 businesses and community representatives and elected officials, the draft framework provides goals and strategies to support the corridor as a vital job center, enhance infrastructure to improve mobility, safety, and sustainability, and preserve the corridor's historic identity, and also improve the communication between businesses and the community. This is located in the 29th, 36th, and 37th wards. Brad Roback will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan. Brad.
Great. Thanks, Vice Chair Brumfield and Plan Commissioners for allowing me to speak today. My name is Brad Roback. I'm Director of Planning, Research, and Development in the Systems Planning Division of the Department of Planning and Development. I'm very pleased today to present to you the Armitage Industrial Corridor Framework Plan for adoption. The presentation includes a summary of the planning process and the recommendations, goals, and strategies that are part of the plan. The Armitage Industrial Corridor is seen here on the map. The orange boundary is the industrial corridor boundary. The purple shaded area, this corridor includes Planned Manufacturing District 15. It covers parts of the 29th, 36th, and 37th ward, and all of the alders have expressed support for the plan. It also includes some of the Belmont, Cragen, and Austin neighborhoods, community areas. It's in the northwest and west planning regions of the city. And interestingly, there are 4 metro stations that are either within the corridor or proximate to the corridor that make this very unique. The framework plan aims to guide the future of investments and ensure the area remains a vital job center as an industrial corridor. The framework plan builds upon the city's previous industrial corridor planning efforts and is guided by the relevant plans of the 2023 citywide plan regarding equity and resiliency. It includes an assessment of Planned Manufacturing 15 as well. The framework plan was developed with the help of the Greater Northwest Chicago Development Corp., several businesses and residents of the community, and with support from the local alderpersons through a series of community events and working groups. These began back in July of last year. Throughout the course of the project, we engaged over 200 individuals and more than 20 local businesses to help with development of the plan. The goals and strategies within the plan were developed with input from the community and working group made up of residents, from representatives from businesses and nearby residents. The draft goals and strategies were presented at a community open house in February, and DPD provided an informational presentation to the Plan Commission in March. We then subsequently released the draft plan on April 15th for public comment, and today we're presenting for adoption. DPD collected and analyzed a lot of data about the corridor, including land use, market conditions, and employment. The next few slides kind of summarize that research. While employment in the Armitage corridor has declined overall between 2002 and 2022, the area is still home to over 2,100 jobs, of which half are in the manufacturing and industrial sectors. Manufacturing jobs decreased rapidly in the early 2000s, but employment in this sector has stabilized in recent years, hovering somewhere around 1,000 jobs, so still significant. The biggest increase in jobs that we found in this period were for businesses that provide support or services to other businesses. Those increased by about 600 jobs. Needless to say, this is a diverse job center within the city. Land use changes have also occurred within the corridor. The percentage of industrial land uses have declined here. This is likely due to some of the manufacturing and industrial companies leaving the corridor over past decades. As a result, vacant land has increased. However, there have been some new uses here. Institutional uses such as community centers, schools, nonprofits have reused some of this vacant land. However, there still is a large amount of vacant properties here that we're hoping to address with parts of the plan. Other uses such as residential and even some commercial have marginally increased as well. Even though there have been changes in land use, we heard from local manufacturers and businesses that this is a good place to do business. There's been investment in existing building stock within the corridor. We found that the corridor remains strong in renovations of industrial buildings. The corridor ranks fourth among the city's 26 industrial corridors in this particular category of renovations. Some notable examples include renovations to the Hostess facility and a company called Amped Kitchens in the area. So the goals of the plan, which are shown here on the slide, are based on our research and input received during the planning process. The goals include supporting the corridor as a job center, but recognizing that changes to land use and market conditions have happened. We also have a goal that enhances infrastructure to improve mobility, safety, and sustainability, preserving the historic identity and character of the corridor, and improving communication between businesses and surrounding communities. There was broad-based support for these goals at the community open houses we held in February, and we received very positive input during the public comment period. And we actually received a lot of letters of support as well, some of which were posted online, some of which we just received today. I'm going to go over each one of these goals really briefly in the next few slides. But I wanted to show a map about the framework plan. Within this framework, we identify 5 areas that we would feel within the corridor where land use change should be considered. This includes the former Mars facilities within PMD 15, as well as 4 other areas that are shown on this map in orange. I'll talk a little more about these in detail in just a minute. It also includes some recommendations to strengthen the planned manufacturing district. So the first goal, support the Armitage Industrial Corridor as a vital job center while adapting to changing market conditions. We have a strategy that recommends expanding the list of uses within the PMD to kind of help fill some of the vacant spaces that are in there. The strategy is to allow more options for redevelopment and bring the PMD on par with uses allowed in other PMDs around the city. A list of potential uses is shown here on the left, and this includes things like larger retail and service spaces, as well as artist workspaces and other things that will help fill some of the vacant space. One of the main recommendations within Goal 1 is due to the closing of the Mars facility here shown on the map in the very western part of the corridor. DPD is recommending that the former Mars site be removed from PMD 15 by rezoning this site to the pre-PMD zoning district and establishing a conversion area in this space. The 20-acre site, which is very big, is located adjacent to a metro station, and given its size and location, we feel that the location can support a range of new uses at higher densities that would align with community needs as well. Redevelopment could include residential, again at higher densities, retail and commercial. Redevelopment could also include things like incubator spaces and co-working spaces too. Additionally, the city would assess the industrial corridor system fee that may be used for projects identified within this plan, but also as part of other industrial corridors across the city. Also in Goal 1, we were recommending 2 other places where creating opportunity to encourage market-driven investment on these 2 opportunity sites shown on the screen. The first is a large open lot across from the Metra and rail line just to the north of the Mars site. It's currently being used for vehicle storage, but it's surrounded by non-industrial uses such as Shriners Hospital, which is just outside the corridor to the west. There are townhomes just to the east and a senior residence just to the north. This could lead to development of similar uses on this site. One other recommendation is for the other site, which is the former Zenith facility at Austin and Dickens. The building has been vacant for decades and is deteriorating rapidly. Several of the participants, both residents and businesses, recommended that we should do something to have this redeveloped. So we're recommending that allowing proposals which could include a range of uses such as residential, retail, commercial, as well as incubators or light industrial and artisan production could help stimulate some of that redevelopment. The site includes several former parking lots which are just located to the north outside of the industrial corridor, but could also be part of the development. 2 other sites that we recommend for changes are just a little further to the east. The site to the left on this slide is an area at the corner of Major and Armitage. And we are recommending that this area be left for industrial redevelopment. We would not encourage residential uses here. It's near an existing business called Meskin Foundry, which has been in the corridor for over 100 years. They're interested in expanding, and this is kind of a mix of uses like single-family homes, but also a lot of outdoor storage, which we don't think is compatible. There's another area just to the east at Grand and Laramie, which has, again, several different types of uses there. We're recommending that some planning within this area to cluster sites that are more mixed use along Grand to capitalize on the commercial nature of Grand. And then sort of clustering the industrial uses closer to the tracks where a lot of them exist currently. There's also some mobility issues within this area that we're wanting to look at as part of the next goal, which I'm going to talk about in just a minute, or right now. Goal 2 is to enhance the infrastructure to improve mobility, safety, and sustainability. There's multiple strategies within this goal, but during the process, DPD received several comments from participants to include strategies that address things like flooding, truck traffic, and pedestrian safety and mobility. The strategies in this goal recommend continuing enhancements that improve mobility for pedestrians, bicyclists, and other non-auto users, including transit improvements. It also recommends to pursue opportunities to reduce flooding, which has been a major concern in the area, and traffic conflicts between industrial businesses and residents by trying to route trucks off of residential streets. CDOT, CTA, and Metro were part of our working group and contributed to this section of the plan. Goal 3 really focuses on the history of the Armitage Corridor. This has been a place to make things for a long time. There are several legacy businesses here. I mentioned Meskin Foundry earlier, but there are also others such as Radio Flyer, Lion and Healy, Petra and Hullum. A lot of those participated in our working groups. They have been here for quite some time, some of them over 100 years, employing hundreds of people in the area. We want to highlight that and look to preserve some of the building stock that's there that was part of that history, as well as kind of focus in on the Mars building, which just received landmark approval, it is now a Chicago landmark, so we want to focus in on that. I do want to mention that the plan includes design guidelines that support this as well as some of the other goals. And the last goal and set of strategies really focus in on improving communication between businesses and residents. We want to make sure that we're working with our Leary partner in the area, with businesses, and to try and get the word out about what's happening within the corridor, get the word out about city resources that might be available to preserve buildings or redevelop buildings. So we would work with the Greater Northwest CDC to kind of work and connect businesses to those resources, and then also improve communication with all the groups. So I went through that fairly fast, but I will stay for questions. The draft plan has been available for public comments since April 15th. Over the past 30 days, DPD has received comments from residents, businesses, city staff, and officials. We also received several letters of support, which I mentioned earlier, which we can provide. And based on these comments, DPD is recommending that we update some of the text, graphics, and photos within the plan just for improved clarity and readability. We're not recommending any changes substantially to the recommendations and goals that are part of the draft plan. So none of that is really changing. DPD is recommending that the Chicago Plan Commission adopt the Armitage Industrial Corridor Framework Plan today, and including any comments received today, and upon adoption by the Plan Commission, DPD will work to finalize and publish the final plan. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for listening, and I welcome any questions you may have.
Do have 6 individuals signed in to speak on this item. I would like to call the first 3 to speak. The first is Mr. George Blakemore, who has not indicated whether he's for or against the proposal. Second is Jorge Benitez, who is for the proposal. And next, Norman Hoffberg, who is also for the proposal. The first 3 speakers, please line up to speak.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Detrimental. Community involvement. Manufacturing in the city of Chicago is on a decline. So you have all antiquated, used to be
Vice Chair, she can't hear.
Yeah, it looks like, yeah, can we have some assistance?
Different mic. Another one.
This should work.
Okay, thank you. The problem, these owners of these manufacturers, they're no longer able to make money. So converting these manufacturers into other spaces, and what they're doing, these tax incentives, they still want to make money. So they're giving them tax incentive. Well, who or whom is monitoring these tax incentives? And when you always talking about community involvement, when did the community meet? Do you have that date? How many met? How did they vote? You know, the technology is here. And what you're reading, I don't believe that happened. Just because you said it happened, what is the proof? What was the vote? Who was present? I don't believe you. What I'm saying, I don't trust you. When did they meet? How many showed up? And how many voted for or against it? What you're trying to do now is these light manufacturing district is no longer, they've lasted too long. And the owners want to still want to make a profit. And you have no way to show how, to tell me right now, if I ask you, who attended these meetings? When was those meetings attended? Who voted and how the vote? You don't have that. So I'm questioning everything that you read off. I'm challenging you to show me. Now they want to put homes there. Man, like you writing it down and you're going to do this. See, we take for granted what they present us actually happened like they presented. And I'm saying, I don't believe you. Show me. Thank you. And I'm sorry I messed up this mic.
Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you, commissioners. Excuse me. Oh,
It should be working.
this is back up. Hello. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak. My name is Jorge Benitez, and I am with Placemaker Development. We focused on delivering small bay industrial properties in Northwest Chicago. I was very glad to see the proposal as presented today, sticking so much to what the community and what the businesses were looking for. My main concern is, and I think it will be addressed, is the lack of small bay industrial properties, not only in Chicago, but nationwide. It is something that should be addressed. And I believe that part of the vacant lands in the Armitage area can be successfully developed for small bay uses. And small bay, by that I mean anywhere from, excuse me, 5,000 to 25,000 square feet. Probably you all know that out of the 90 million square feet of industrial property that was developed in Chicago in the last 5 years, less than 3% covers that type of property. So it is imperative that we work on making sure that some of these issues are looked at. We need to develop more spaces. Small businesses require it. So I hope that the commissioners, you will take this into account and wholeheartedly support and pass this proposition. Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to first say how much I appreciate the opportunity to speak. I also want to thank GNCDC for communicating with us and with the city, and particularly Claudia. I'm Norman Hofberg. I'm co-president of Petra and Holem. It's the merged result of Petra Manufacturing Company and Holem & Sons, two 92-year-old Chicago manufacturing companies. One was started by my grandmother in the Depression, and the other was started by my partner's grandfather. There are many firsts to our credit. The company is the oldest fabricator of vinyl plastics in the United States. The company was the first to offer Velcro on products in the Western Hemisphere. And the company was first to offer magnetic closures on custom packaging. There are many more firsts, but I only mention these items to illustrate our contribution as manufacturers and our commitment to manufacturing in Chicago. Having said this, we have occupied our building at the intersection of Armitage and Nashville for 25 years. We've reached out to the city for relief from our constant flooding, which has resulted in severe damage to the building, and an area inside the building is actually collapsing. Apparently, when these streets were put into the city, they were built without sewage, without any water control at all. Going way back, this area was a golf course. The result of this is the sinking of the front portion of our building on Nashville. Repairs will be many hundreds of thousands of dollars, but nothing can be done until the water is controlled. I've submitted a letter that was issued by the Department of Planning years ago. The situation was going to be corrected in 2020, but nothing was done. Now we're being told that it is scheduled for 2026. Until recently, it has been very, very difficult for us to get anyone from the city to even look at our situation. And I want you to understand that's why I'm feeling very positive about what is being proposed. We are committed to Chicago. This week, a piece of equipment of almost $500,000 is arriving. It will
Sorry about that.
Thank
but
you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would like to ask the next three speakers to line up in this order. Tom Startek, who is for the proposal. Claudia Perez, who is also for the proposal. And Steve Green, who is also for the proposal.
Good morning, or I think it's good afternoon. Thank you for having a chance to be here. And it's a pleasure to working with guys on the team, especially Todd Wyatt, gentleman too. And I'm from StarTech Glass, local light manufacturer and installer. We're in the area for 30 years. We employ 30 people. We're actually trying to extend our manufacturing to 1900 North Central, but we really need better access. We have a problem with getting employees to our facility and especially trucks. So that curb cut on Holman Street from the city ramp, it's necessary. Looks like we're going to be able to get it. So I'm definitely for this proposal. And I'm a part of GNCDC and working with Claudia Perez. She's doing a great job. I don't want to take too much time, but it's really, we're actually appreciate all of the grants for SPIF and some training programs. So we're trying to stay in our Armitage corridor, keeping the manufacturers and employees are 90% or 90% plus in Chicago from our area. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Claudia Perez. I'm representing the Greater Northwest Chicago Development Corporation. I'm a LERI, a local industrial retention initiative, and our mission is to support the growth and retention of industrial businesses, manufacturing businesses, and small businesses located in the industrial corridors on the Chicago's northwest side. We offer a wide range of services, including connecting businesses with city resources, assisting with access to public incentives, organizing educational and networking events, promoting local businesses, small manufacturing and industrial in the surrounding area, and advocating, most of all, for the long-term health and vitality of these industrial corridors. One of our key focus areas is the Armitage Industrial Corridor. The recent Armitage Industrial Corridor Plan is a great example of what's possible when businesses and neighborhood organizations come together. The Armitage Corridor Plan is one that aims to balance economic development with the needs of all these businesses and the community. I think so. Okay. Okay.
3 minutes? I'm not sure.
I don't
Seems
think
like
so.
it was fast. Oh, please, continue.
But turning that vision into reality requires investment. Programs like the Small Business Improvement Fund, or SPIF, have already helped many corridor businesses make crucial upgrades, improving buildings, strengthening operations, and creating local jobs. That's why GNCDC strongly supports the continued availability of financial incentives in this corridor. These tools are essential to realizing the goals of the Armitage Corridor Plan, benefiting both all businesses and the surrounding neighborhoods. Taking into account that these businesses, this industrial, manufacturing, and small businesses provide living wages and employment opportunities for everyone there. Steve Green from Jonathan Snyder, I'm sorry, from North Branch was here earlier, and he brought up the LERI industrial policy. I ask that you take it into account. It has important points focusing on workforce development, incentives for businesses like SPIF, TIF Works, also issues on property tax. Many businesses in my corridors, their taxes have tripled. We need to maybe expand on the 6B, more incentives when it comes to property tax so they can continue their businesses in the city of Chicago, stay in the city of Chicago. And thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, everybody. My name is Steve Green. I'm with Galewood Neighbors. It's a small gem of a neighborhood in the Austin community, and we're the furthest most west you can go and still be in the city of Chicago. But we thank you for letting me speak, and thank you for the Department of Planning organizing the community engagement. Our organization was greatly involved in all the community meetings. And we were very thankful for that. We know that the impetus of the study was probably the Mars plant being closed, and we were involved with that, those community meetings also. Mars had 5 community meetings through LISC, and there is a multi-use plan that the community decided on. It's an ideal world. We know that there's going to be some compromise, but that's part of this corridor study. And there's been great community engagement and involvement. And, I totally am for this, the approval of this plan. So thank you for having me and have a good day. And if I can pass any of my time off to Norm, if he wants to finish. I think he left.
3 minutes to each speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any questions or comments of staff? Comment. Mr. Laspada.
One brief comment. It's all fantastic. I really appreciate the public comment from the room, particularly folks who are committed to not only the words about industrial identity, but keeping their businesses in this area and expanding it. I had one question. In the last 10 years, we've done industrial corridor plans related to the Kinsey corridor, to the North Branch Works. And each time, I feel like we think critically about what are complementary uses to incorporate into that PMD, into the corridor. How has our thinking evolved over this 10-year period about what uses we can expand in that are complementary, that revitalize and support industrial character and expansion, and which are uses that are detrimental to the furthering and persistence of that identity? Does that question make sense?
Yes, I think so.
Okay.
I'll give it a shot here. So, part of that process was just talking with businesses and residents to see what they were interested in seeing. I know Mars did their own process for their site, but we talked about several of the properties where we're recommending that maybe changes should occur. So we got a lot of feedback from the communities and businesses that were there. We also tried to look at areas that weren't going to increase any kind of conflict, where if residential uses went in, we would not have the same kind of conflicts that maybe you're alluding to. And we also then looked at the PMD, and when we analyzed the other PMDs within the city, we found that there were a list of uses which we're proposing to add to this PMD, just to make it on par with the rest of that. So we were sort of pulling from that group of uses that was in there. So.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I might follow up by email, but I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Boatright.
No question. Just congratulations to you and your team, and for all the engagement, all the thoughtful outreach. We've got some of our Learys here today. And I appreciate what you said, Commissioner. It's a testament just to how the team really engages, right? And the proof that these local, industrial retention initiatives really work, right? When we leverage the different tools that we have to ensure that our industrial and manufacturing businesses continue to get the support that they need, both financial support and just knowing that departments are here to serve them and to ensure that they're successful, that they can continue to operate, that they can grow when and where appropriate. So I just wanted to say thank you to Brad and his team for all the thoughtful engagement, all the planning, as we really think about how do we reuse some of these vacant spaces, right? Not all of them will be manufacturing spaces or industrial spaces. And so I think you raised a really great point in how we really think about these plans in a far more holistic way. How do we put these vacant spaces back in productive use? How do we get the support that our businesses need so they continue to thrive for generations to come? But also really think about planning in a more responsible, sustainable way. So thank you, Brad and team. Thank you to all the partners that showed up today, just to voice your support and continue to show up in these corridors in the way that we need and ways that holds us accountable. So just a thank you, not a question, but a congratulations to you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Do any other commissioners have any comments to the staff? Are there any impacted aldermen or members of their staff here to make a statement?
Chairman Noah Svranick, DPD. We have letters of support from all 4 aldermen. Alderman Villegas was here prepared to speak in support, but he had to leave for another commitment.
Thank you. There are no additional questions of staff? Oh. Oh, okay. I appreciate you moving fast, Commissioner Burnett. For the record, there are no additional questions for staff. Do I have a motion on the proposed resolution seeking to adopt the Armitage Industrial Corridor Framework Plan, finding that it meets the requirements for approval? So moved by Commissioner Burnett, seconded by Commissioner Boatright. With that, we'll do a roll call vote. Commissioner Boatright. Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Brumfield is yes. Commissioner Burnett. Commissioner Carney. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner LaSpada. Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Ramirez Rosa. Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Tillman. Motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Next item today is listed as D5, an informal informational presentation on the Cicero. My apologies. Next item on today's list is D5, as listed as D5, an informational presentation on the Cicero Avenue land use study. The study area is a 2.75 mile stretch of North Cicero Avenue from Irving Park Road to the Grand Cicero Metro Station in the Portage Park and Belmont Cragen neighborhoods. This study, led by the Department of Planning and Development, will better understand the existing conditions along the Cicero Avenue corridor and ultimately create a vision for future land uses based on input received from the community partners, businesses, and residents, as well as elected officials. This is located in the 26th, 30th, 31st, and 36th and 45th wards. Benjamin Corpuz will provide the context overview and present the proposed plan.
All right.
Ben.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Vice Chair and members of the Commission. For the record, my name is Benji Corpus with the Department of Planning and Development. I am a city planner here, appearing here today to present an informational presentation on the Cicero Avenue land use study. The study area is located in the northwest region between Irving Park Road to the north and the Grand Cicero Metro Station to the south, totaling 2 3/4 of a mile in length. The study will determine recommendations for land use improvements along the corridor that will help foster economic vitality, cohesion, and other local goals based on input we receive from community partners, business owners, residents, and elected officials. The study area overlaps with 5 wards, the 26th, 30th, 31st, 36th, and 45th, as well as 2 community areas, the Portage Park and Belmont Cragen community areas. This plan was brought about through a variety of factors, primarily from input that we've received from our local ward offices, our own observations of the corridor. There's also been a lack of private investment and development that has occurred in the study area, and we want to acknowledge its full potential that could be unlocked through thoughtful planning and engagement. The land use study will build off of past and previous planning efforts, including 2 completed by 2 outside agencies in 2016 and 2019. And some of those overlapping goals included improving support for new and existing businesses, improving the commercial corridors as a retail and dining environment, making businesses more inviting, and building more housing along these commercial corridors. In addition to, the study will consider ways to support our sister agencies and city goals in increasing access and ridership for public transit. The rebuild of the Grayland Metro Station is scheduled for completion in 2025, which is just located about 1/3 of a mile away from the northern end of our study area. And although there are no scheduled improvements for the Grand and Cicero Metro Station, it is an important asset that connects the community to the Loop and the northwest suburbs. And the planning process will explore how to leverage the station's benefit and importance to the study area. And just last March, the CTA selected the number 54 Cicero Avenue bus route to be part of the initial phase of the frequent network to ensure 10-minute or better scheduled service all day, every day. The study officially kicked off last month on April 24th with a virtual meeting with DPD, ward offices, and 20 organizational leaders, business owners, and residents in attendance that we're calling the Community Partner Group. And the following day, some of us even attended a brief walking tour of Cicero Avenue. And we will be wrapping up our existing conditions phase through the end of the month and into June. And we will be launching a community survey in just a few weeks. Between now and through the fall, we will continue to listen and learn from our community partners, members of the public, and conduct more interactive visioning exercises, seeing what they would like to see on Cicero Avenue. And after that, we're going to incorporate that feedback we receive into a series of goals and strategies for the plan that will be vetted further through additional engagement. And ultimately, the study will conclude with a written report. We anticipate to have a draft ready for public comment in spring of 2026, with the final draft ready for plan adoption by the Plan Commission here in summer 2026. From our observations, analysis, and discussions with the ward offices and the community group, some early themes have started to emerge. The corridor features a historic automobile-centric land use pattern that has brought a desire for more mixed-use development and improvements to be added to the study area. About 3/4 of the parcels are zoned for business or commercial use with the lowest density currently allowed. Grocery stores and other popular retail destinations are bypassing the corridor and locating in areas just outside. Our community partners have expressed a desire for more small businesses, a large anchor retailer, business incubator, and greater visibility and access to legacy businesses that are already here and in some instances have been here for decades. And while most of the study area has experienced limited to no real estate investment, there has been a lot of activity at the northern terminus of the study area near Six Corners with the Sears redevelopment, the Clarendale, and hopefully soon the People's Gas site. There is a desire and opportunity to leverage those new residents as potential patrons further down along into the study area. And lastly, in the terms of the public realm, meeting attendees expressed a desire for more greenery, better fencing, and improved sidewalk conditions, especially near public transit and busy intersections where people most frequent. One of the great challenges of bringing those types of improvements to Cicero Avenue, admittedly, is its designation as a Class 2 truck route assigned by the Illinois Department of Transportation, which adds another layer of oversight to the corridor. From the truck traffic that we do have, there were about 2,000 trucks and buses counted at Cicero and Fullerton over a 24-hour period in September 2023. In comparison, it's slightly more traffic that occurred at Ashland and Fullerton, as well as North and Western, but less traffic that you may see in certain areas of the south and southwest sides. The photos featured on the next slide were from last month's walking tour that I briefly mentioned. It was a great day, all was going well. We were having nice interactions, discussions, but admittedly it did start to rain. We were forced to get inside. Fortunately, one of our amazing community partners, Community Savings Bank, at Belmont and Cicero, graciously sheltered us and allowed the discussion to continue inside. And while we were literally rained out, it was a great opportunity to visit one of our legacy businesses along the corridor who just celebrated their 80th birthday this January. So special shout out to Community Savings Bank for their hospitality. But looking at the draft goals and priorities, the Cicero Avenue Land Use Study intends to better understand the existing conditions of the study area by identifying its strengths, challenges, opportunities, market conditions, trends, and more. This study will conduct meaningful and authentic public engagement using a variety of methods. We will hear from business owners, residents, community partners alike, and elected officials of their past experiences and future desires for the corridor. And ultimately, the study will produce a vision for land use recommendations. The public input we receive will help identify desirable uses along the corridor, and any potential land use recommendations will be coordinated specifically with the ward offices for future implementation. Next steps, during the month of May, we will continue to finish our existing conditions analysis through mapping and further data collection, as well as in-person site visits to the corridor. We were just there with Alder Fuentes just yesterday. And in June, we will issue a community survey to help identify needs and attitudes of the corridor. And a community partner meeting will be held in advance of the first larger public meeting scheduled for August. We are excited by the launch of this study and present to the commission here today. And through our collective efforts, we're hopeful our recommendations will further improve our quality of life for our communities in the Northwest region. I'm personally honored to be assisting in this effort for the City of Chicago, and I'm available to answer any questions you may have. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you. We do have two people signed in to speak to this item. First is Butler Adams, who is not indicated whether he is for or against the proposal, and also George Blakemore, who also has not indicated whether he is for or against the proposal. Mr. Adams? Oh, there you are.
Yes, for the record, my name is Butler Adams. I know this is very, very early in the process. I just wanted to have my name on record saying that I want to follow this process like I've done all the other ones. I certainly hope that there's as much potential with this one as we've seen with Broadway, Western 95th Street. I know that a lot of this, like 95th Street, started under Commissioner Cox, and I want to thank you all for just like taking these and running with them and adding more corridors to the proposals and commissions and stuff like that, having more. This is really a chance for us to add more density to the city. I was just reading that Chicago actually added population over the last year, as well as Detroit, and that's a good thing. I think we all know that Chicago has lost population for the past 40 years, and this is a chance for us to really help to rebuild the city. Again, this is very early in the process. I know this is going to go through like 5 different wards, and I certainly hope that these aldermen will be thoughtful in thinking of adding density to their wards, but we'll see about that as well. And I hope that planning also looks at other parts of the city, like say Stony Island, because that's an auto sewer just like Cicero is. But that's it for now, and thanks.
Thank you.
The demographic, what is the racial makeup of these people? Mr. Blakemore, why you always bring up race in a racist system here? Why do you bring up race? These are Hispanic people. And we're back there with these factories. If one would visit those factories, you would see who would be working there if Reverend Trump would go in there. They wouldn't be Black people. And I'm amazed how silent Black people are. Can't you see what I see? Are you blind? Are you crippled? Are you crazy? Can you see what I see? The invasion of an illegal people coming over. And those that are here, these people advocate for their people. They're not ashamed to play the race card. They'll show you better than they can tell you. The demographic out there is 99% Hispanic. Now, something, I can't get mad at them. But advocating.
I'm sorry,
for themselves.
Mr. Blakemore, do you have a question or comment on this particular item?
I am making my comment. I am making my comment to you two or three that's here. And the comment is that I want to use a good English now. I don't want to use is and ain't, but be articulate enough that these projects are coming up and they have been presented. And the Black people are not getting the job, goods, contracts, and service. That metro station, you should go and look and see. These people have totally invaded the Democratic Party here and just gentrified us out of here. And we're silent. If you would go to any of these factories in these manufactured areas and just walk in and see work. So I'm just thinking we're blind. I'm talking about us Black people. You can see what I can see. What motivates you to be silent? That metro station, that whole area, and all of these projects that was brought up. If Trump would go by these facts, he could put them all back. I have every right to my opinion. I don't have to agree with you. That's why I'm here. The demographic of that station, right, metro station, is Hispanic. And you can't get mad at them for advocating for them. We got to advocate for.
Do the commissioners have any questions or comments of the staff? Oh, Commissioner Reyes.
Yeah, first of all, I want to say that I am getting to a point that I'm getting tired of these comments. I know this is a democracy, but there's got to be a point. I am a Latino person and I am offended by your comments, sir. It's unacceptable. I also want to say on a better note that I am very proud to see Ben in front of presenting to the commissioner because many, many years ago, he was my intern. So it's a very small world and I'm very proud. So I think overall in terms of the presentation, maybe later I would like to hear more about actually what's going to be the community engagement, how you plan to address that and how you plan to do it during times of the day and that allow for the residents to truly participate, not at 10 o'clock in the morning, right? A Saturday or you guys know, but I just needed to say that because it is important to offer real opportunities for community engagement. Now, if the residents don't want to engage, that's on them, right? But I think we got to be clear about what are the opportunities that we're going to give them. Thank you, and I'm very proud, Ben.
Thank you. I can speak a little bit to that. You know, we want to meet people where they're at, and we are still developing our community engagement plan, but our intention is to, you know, meet people where they're at different like events in the community, as well as hosting events such as that we will organize ourselves later in the summer. So virtual survey, we hope to leverage, you know, the ward offices and our community, you know, partner groups who are really embedded in the community. You know, there are several chambers of commerce, there's several business owners who really know the lay of the land and help spread the word on getting people to participate, and the school as well.
The churches.
Yes, we have Chicago Tabernacle as well.
Commissioner Laspada.
Hey, thank you. I'll be quick because I know sometimes. Great presentation. Really love it. Echo all the thoughts brought forward by Commissioner Reyes. I'm so curious from your personal and professional perspective, 2.75 miles is a large study area. How do you feel that on the walking tour that you were on, how does the character of that corridor change as you move across it from north to south?
Yeah, I'd say it's primarily, you know, a very wide corridor. It's like about 100 feet right of way in width. If you go further north towards Six Corners after Addison, it does start to get a little bit more narrow. But primarily there is a lot of auto-centric kind of land use pattern, as we kind of are describing it, south of Addison, going all the way to the end of the study area. So just even walking through the corridor, it was very loud, number one. And it was warm that day in particular. But I'd say it's a very, the pattern that you see that exists, you know, south of Addison going all the way to the metro stations is very repetitive. But it changes a little bit when you get closer to Six Corners. And again, we're trying to leverage that type of development that we're kind of seeing in that area and bring it further south as best as we can.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fascinating to see as y'all go through this, like what residents and businesses hope and vision it is for the corridor and how planning and investment can help to accomplish that. I'm really genuinely psyched for it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for presenting. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Do the commissioners have any other questions of staff on this matter? Are there any impacted aldermen or members of the staff here to make any statements on this item? If not, just to again state that this was an informal presentation. No vote is necessary on this item, and we move forward on to adjournment. This does conclude this month's meeting of the Chicago Plan Commission. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by Commissioner Tillman. Roll call vote. Commissioner Brooks. Commissioner Brumfield is yes. Commissioner Castaneda. Commissioner LaSpada. Commissioner Lyons. Commissioner Murphy. Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Tillman. This does conclude today's meeting for the Chicago Plan Commission, which is now adjourned at time 1:02 p.m. Thank you.